This historic Second World Congress will now be opened by the representative of the Universal House of Justice, the hand of the cause of God, Amatu'l-Bahá, Ruhíyyíh, Khánum.
That's nice. Now I can see you. It's a very wonderful occasion, friends, and a great honor and distinction for each one of us to be present on this historic occasion. I bring you the greetings and the love of the Universal House of Justice and the members of the International Teaching Center, the Baha'i community in Haifa. Some of us are present here, but many more of them are occupied with their duties in the Holy Land. But I'm sure everybody's heart and everybody's prayers are with us today. I think that we cannot underestimate the immense importance of this occasion, not only because it's the centenary of the passing of Baha'u'llah, not only because it is in the city of the Covenant, which is so precious to the Baha'is because of Abdu'l-Bahā's association with this city, but because of the fact that the Baha'i faith now is not only becoming universally recognized all over the world. We're not only having people in different continents, different countries, different islands and territories who are Baha'is. You couldn't find a place in the world where you could put your finger on the map and there would not be one Baha'i, if not a great many Baha'is. But the fact that we are being turned to by the people of the world, including many times officials, they're beginning to understand that what Baha'u'llah has brought to the world is something that cannot be ignored and may, because they are not Baha'is, may hold the secret to some hope for humanity in the future. And I think that this is one of the great, great privileges and blessings that we have now, that we can see these things happening, that you who are here from so many countries and islands representing your communities in the Baha'i world, that you can go back and witness to what has happened here in New York before the press, before the mayor, before United States officials, a message from the President of the great Republic of the West, and so on. So that we are indeed very, very blessed to be here and very privileged to be alive at this time. I want to read you the message from our beloved Universal House of Justice, addressed to the followers of Baha'u'llah attending the Second World Baha'i Congress. Dearly loved friends, with eager hopes and thankful hearts, we acclaim the convocation in New York of the Second Baha'i World Congress on the occasion of the worldwide celebration of the centenary of the inauguration of the Covenant of Baha'u'llah. That so wide a diversity of the human race as you represent has assembled at this commemorative event is in itself history-making, as indeed an impressive demonstration of the potency and potential of the covenant as the instrument designed by the Lord of the age for the unification and pacification of the nations and peoples of the earth. We rejoice with exceeding gladness for your coming together in such variegated array in an affirmation of the efficacy of this sacred legacy, a fresh assurance that despite recurrent trials and turmoils, its world-redeeming, world-revolutionizing purpose will ultimately be entirely realized. Our emotions are deeply stirred as we reflect on the remarkable circumstances which heralded the birth of Baha'u'llah's covenant. Melancholy and hopeful images alternatingly flash upon our mental screen. The tragic May night a century ago of the passing of Baha'u'llah, the supreme manifestation of God. The soul-crushing scenes of the grief-stricken many who converged on Badji to pay their respects to his memory. The atmosphere of absolute desolation caused by the loss of one who had been father and incomparable friend to all. But the setting of the sun of Baha gave rise to the appearance of the orb of the covenant. Thus, the majestic figure of Amatu'l-Bahá came to impress itself indelibly upon the consciousness of the faithful, consoling their spirits, brightening their outlook, because in Baha'u'llah's book of the covenant, the Khánum-01, this beloved son was appointed his successor and the center of the covenant. Thus was set in motion on the morrow of Baha'u'llah's ascension the divine process that will, during the course of the Baha'i dispensation, guarantee the fulfillment of his principal purpose for mankind, namely, the realization of its oneness. The initial momentum of this process was to gather particular force in the West as the acts of the beloved Master dramatically revealed. It was during his epic journey to North America that Amatu'l-Bahá, recently released from imprisonment, impressed upon the early Occidental believers the pivotal importance of the new covenant. And it was in New York City that he chose to disclose to his disciples the special characteristics of that covenant and his true station as its appointed center. The occasion won for this leading city of the Western Hemisphere the surname City of the Covenant. Where else then but this signally blessed metropolis could serve as the fitting venue for the commemoration which has so marvelously brought you together? This Congress is the major occasion during the Holy Year for the evocation of a memory which enables us all to appreciate how, through the dynamic person and peerless office of the center of the covenant, the will of both the Abha beauty and his herald has been translated into visible means for actualizing the unity of mankind and building a world civilization. Consider, for instance, how on the very night in May 1844, when he declared his prophetic mission, the Bab addressed a summons to the peoples of the West that they issue forth from their cities to teach the cause of God. Has that summons not thoroughly been fused with the world-embracing purpose of Baha'u'llah, becoming a shining reality within the framework of the administrative order, the child of the covenant, an order which the Bab anticipated would extol his writings? You have come to New York to reflect on such triumphant realities with due solemnity and spiritual joy. How heartwarming and noteworthy that the proceedings of this momentous gathering will be enhanced by the presence of the three hands of the cause, tried and true upholders of the covenant, chosen by Shoghi Effendi under his authority as the guardian of the faith, appointed in the will and testament of Amatu'l-Bahá. We can never forget that by their selfless adherence to duty during the period of their custodianship, following the sudden passing of Shoghi Effendi, the hands of the cause preserved the wholeness of the community of Baha, while at the same time guiding the members of that expanding community to the victorious conclusion of the Guardian's 10-year global crusade. Nor can we cease to appreciate their continuing tireless services in the propagation and protection of our glorious faith. We are particularly pleased that our representative to the Congress is one of these high-ranking officers, the consort and helpmate of our beloved guardian, who herself attained the presence of Amatu'l-Bahá. It was Shoghi Effendi who called for the first World Congress, which jubilantly marked the 100th anniversary of Baha'u'llah's declaration of his mission. With admirable resourcefulness, the hands of the cause planned and executed it. That unforgettable occasion in London some 3 decades ago, coming at the end of the 10-year crusade, affirm to the Baha'is themselves that the faith at this moment throughout the Baha'i world, we are engaged in another continental observation for the purpose not only of celebrating the unique history of the covenant, but also of proclaiming abroad its aims and unifying power. Its unifying power. The Second World Congress, now convened, is the mainspring in the launching of worldwide commemorative activities, which will promulgate the covenant as the axis of unity for all humankind and broadcast its qualities for reforming human society. Moreover, through these activities and other extended measures, the community at all levels, local, national, continental, and international, will exert immense effort to spread across the planet the name of the world reformer, Baha'u'llah, that hearts may be attracted and minds illumined. But we speak of a proclamation which has more to do with deeds than words. And in this regard, we must everywhere in our world community attain a new awareness of the urgency of the times and of our sacred duties towards the promised one of all ages. A special expectation is therefore invested in you who are attending this focal event in the city of the covenant. For these 4 special days of commemoration, may you all strive as never before to appreciate more adequately the life-transforming character and the unific spirit of the covenant, and to immediately demonstrate this heightened appreciation of the spiritual attitude you show among yourselves. May you do this with the resolve that what you practice towards each other during these few days will henceforth be sustained in your relations with all others elsewhere. May you do this with the resolve that what you practice towards each other during these few days will henceforth be sustained in your relations with others everywhere. Such active resolution will endow the Second World Congress with the radiant power to impress upon the public the incontrovertible fact that the Baha'i faith is a world religion worthy of its claims and hence of public recognition. In a tablet to the Baha'is in New York, Amatu'l-Bahá expressed a hope which it is propitious to recall on this opportune occasion. I eagerly anticipate the day, he wrote, when New York will become a blessed spot from which the call to steadfastness in the covenant and testament of God will go forth to every part of the world. Surely, through the auspicious circumstances afforded by this Congress, you will attempt thus to gratify His Spirit in the Abha Kingdom. so that from his retreats on high you may receive the benediction of his abiding good pleasure and strengthening grace. In our supplications at his blessed shrine, we shall entreat him graciously to secure and in abundance vouchsafe to the entire community of his dedicated lovers the favors and confirmations of the Lord of the Covenant, the Universal House of Justice.